Welcome back to another NHS podcast, our wellness podcast. And today, my guest is Coby. He is an RN. He's the director of our outpatient services and our PAT. He's been with NHS for 13 years. He's married and he has 2 littles. And so that keeps him pretty busy. But today I want to talk to you, Coby, about health and why it's so important to you.
Okay. Yeah, I've always been drawn to like an active lifestyle. Growing up in the country, you just played outside, played sports. So we played sports my whole life. It wasn't really anything where it was like geared towards like fitness perspective. It was more fun, enjoyment. My dad was a type 2 diabetic, had heart disease. His health declined as we grew older, less and less able to participate, do things with us. Really struggled with diabetic sores on his feet. So hard for him to get out, do really anything where he could be active. So just watching him, especially when I got into high school years, it was just him watching. There was no participation, or his enjoyment was just purely out of watching this. So he kind of got robbed of that, and it really didn't dawn on me then. But now that I'm a father, looking back, like all those years that was taken from him because he couldn't participate, couldn't get to that level of fitness or health to where he could enjoy things to the fullest, it really started to weigh on me. I lost him in 2013 to a heart attack. Really rough situation. It was for Christmas time. We were there. My wife and I had to do CPR on him. It was just very difficult time for me. I wasn't a father then. And then we tried for 6.5 years to have our first kid. And so during that time period, it was just, I really wanted to maximize my time. Once I was able to have a kid, I always wanted to be a dad. So I really focused on, if I ever get the opportunity to be a dad, I want to be there and be able to engage with them to the fullest. So that's kind of driven me to be healthy. I haven't been the healthiest person, but that's always kind of a motivating factor of, trying to, increase my time with my kids, and also the time that I have to make the most of it for them. So that really drives me, especially when you hit those lower points. That's kind of a nice like motivation to bring you out of a funk, for sure.
Right.
Yep.
Right. So what are the contributing factors, do you think, to your dad's health? The decline.
He grew up in the South. And his mom, he was a mama's boy. He would tell you that. She babied him. His health, he was pretty active, fit, and then went to college in Texas A&M. They were in South Carolina, but every break he came home, it was like she had to make up for the time she lost. And she's a baker, she cooks. And so she would that was her love language, I guess, to him, was to feed him. And he would get sick a lot while he came on breaks. And that's when they realized in college that he was diabetic. And so just having that kind of, back then there weren't the resources. Because it was fairly new to, the US as far as how to treat, the resources, education. Even me, like, it was kind of like I kind of viewed it as, just don't eat that stuff. Like, why can't you not do that? And right. Now looking at it, when you have a family of 7 and everybody else is eating carbs and things that you can't have, and you're sitting there with your bland, just regular plate, because we didn't have the, TikTok recipes, Facebook recipes of like, look at this amazing stuff you can try. A lot of the dietary options weren't there that they have now. So I think that contributed to where it was just like he fought a losing battle in his mind for most of his life of, I've failed, and so now I'm just going to kind of stay there. And heart disease is rampant in his side of the family. So having that to where like cardiovascular, he could not do things to ward off some of the issues and complications of diabetes, just made it kind of a cyclical. Tried to set him up I tried to get him where he could swim, because that way it was non-weight bearing, but then he got the wounds on his feet. And so then we couldn't do that. So it was just kind of every opportunity to help him succeed. It always seemed like it just never was enough. I made him like a book of recipes where I just printed off stuff from the internet and just made him like where he could flip through. And so it was a really rough like cycle of his body not letting him be able to overcome one thing to try to treat another. And I think that just really took its toll on him. He ended up having bypass several years before he passed away. And it was rough to see just how he couldn't pull out of that and just be able to do something. And so that's why I'm like, I have every opportunity to do this, so I have no excuse. So I try to keep that in my mind of, you are physically able and people would do a lot to be in your position, so take advantage of it.
Exactly. Every day that we're able to do things, you be active and stuff is a gift, because there are those people that are envious of it, that we get to do it. Yeah, we get to do it. So what do you do? What do you do to maintain your health?
So I've always, a good stress reliever for me has always been like sports. Now, basketball is one of my main things. I can just go up, shoot. It really, with the NHS fitness, the membership, took advantage of that last year. Really enjoyed it. It's a good stress reliever for me. As far as my workouts, I try to vary them. One thing I like to do during like the colder months, like fall through the winter, is I like to run. And then when it starts getting hot, humid, I do like MMA based workouts for like cardio, and then lift. We have like a Beachbody membership. So we have like a little mini basic home gym so I try to get lifting in, do my weight stuff at home, and then try to mix up the cardio, because that is usually what you get burnout on. As far as if you don't have a variety of things, that makes it challenging, because then you're just like, I do not want to do this. And so that normally keeps me engaged enough to where I can look forward to doing it instead of dreading it. So that helps a whole lot.
So do you incorporate your kids? Are your kids, do they do little workouts? And
so my 9-year-old has really gotten into basketball in the past few years. So we, like over spring break, we went up to the gym and like did like drills with her and stuff. She does private lessons plus all through the year. And then my 5-year-old, she's really starting to get into dance, and we're kind of transitioning from that. You're not a little kid anymore. Now we got to start being a little more active. So we've all kind of started looking at like our health, as a family, not so much like individualized here in the past few months. So we started bringing them in, like realizing that, hey, we are the responsible for their health right now. And so that's been kind of a new mindset of, hey, we're going to do these things together. It's not, I'm going to do this, but also not, it's a hard balance of not making them focus on that to where that is how they view themselves, as far as, I'm not skinny enough, I'm not fit enough. And so that's hard for, especially a little girl. We try not to, if we're having a rough day, we're like, oh my gosh, I'm out of shape, I'm fat, but that they register that and they see, okay, dad's struggling, mom's struggling. That to me will resonate with them, and you plant those little seeds of like self-doubt. So we want to encourage them, but yet also, hey, it's not a cakewalk. Like this is, you got to try. So We've really tried to start bridging that gap from, hey, let's do things as a family. They have like little kid workouts on Beachbody that they will do that's just enjoyment. So they're old, like the quality's not great, but they love them. They get their workout clothes on there. They love to sweat. They'll find random objects and that's their weight, and they'll work out. So it's been really neat, and it helps me feel a little bit more at peace with, okay, I'm instilling this in my kids, and we're starting it at home, and it's not waiting until like a coach all of a sudden is rocking their world and they're like, I don't like this. I don't want to do this. So they have a negative attitude toward activity or fitness. So that's what we're trying to incorporate and instill into them.
So what are your meals like with them?
So with American kids today, that is one of the biggest struggles. Everything is high carbs, very limited, some form of chicken. So they didn't start out picky, and now I don't know if it's just friends, because they were both pretty willing to eat and didn't mind. And now it is that, like, I want pasta only. So trying to slowly, not rock the world too much, but let's incorporate, like, hey, we got to have at least some type of fruit. We're going to have a vegetable. You don't have to eat all of it, because my wife was picky as a kid, and she was like, you don't understand, like, eating a pea to me was horrific.
I've been there.
And so I don't want to do that to where it's like they dread or have like a bad relationship with food. And so, because that can be debilitating for a kid. So we really try to, if you're a balance of like, okay, we've done one unhealthy thing, we'll give you, like a normal kid snack, but then all right, now we're going to have like a banana tonight, or we're going to do orange slices or blueberries, and just trying to find something that they can do that's like, you did good. Like, this was a good choice, like making smart choices. And they're old enough now to start making those. So, but it is not easy. I mean, everything is very, like, we want some kind of chicken nugget or pasta. And it's to break that, especially when every kid, that's their diet, is really challenging for us.
In the school system,
Yeah.
we send ours with their lunches, but even at the school system, those aren't helpful meals. I mean, you get the chocolate milk and the pizza and things like that, and that all needs to be reconstructed. And in my opinion, that it is. So they do you give them soda, things like that?
No. So thankfully they so we're not super aggressive on, like, we got to go to Trader Joe's only. I mean, for one, it's so expensive. Like, some of that's limiting. So they don't drink soda, try to avoid like the artificial sweeteners and stuff. So thankfully my 5-year-old loves water. Like, that is her go-to. So that's super easy. We do like the low sugar, or I'm not sure what they're called, the Capri Sun. That's my older ones. Like, that's what she'll do, is like her aside from water. And then like her reward would be like, we'll be like, all right, you can have a sweet tea, like once, twice this week. And that, to me, it's at least a balance of staying healthy, but also there can be rewards. I mean, we don't expect you to be perfect, especially at this age, and being able to make a decision of, okay, if you choose this now, like, that's it. Like, it's not like you get to keep making those decisions, those bad decisions that stack up. So, that we're really here in the past few months trying to retool, because it dawned on me, like, they eat what we provide them. Like, they don't go to the store and shop. Like, I mean, it's super easy to be like, all right, I don't have the energy, we're going to whip this up, and it takes 10 minutes. And so that is challenging, because, I mean, convenience is huge, and usually convenience means unhealthy.
Right.
So that makes it really challenging. So that is one area that we have probably failed more than we succeeded, but really trying to, like, hey, let's put an effort towards this. Like, we can do this. Like, we have the opportunity to do it. We might as well do it now while they're young.
Well, there's something. I know the kids are developing faster.
Yeah.
And obesity in childhood it's just running rampant too. It's all over the place, leading to the childhood diabetes and things like that. I agree. It's important to incorporate maybe not be, you can't have that, but so you explain to them why this was a good choice versus.
Yes. Like, we even break down like carbs, fats, proteins, like trying to explain to them, like, okay, and they're kind of get the gist. Like, if they do something good, like if they're eating something good, like, we try to tell them, like, that's awesome. Like, you're getting a lot of protein right now. That's huge. Like, that's going to help do this, this, and this. You're going to build muscle. Or, like for my daughter, like doing the basketball stuff, I'm like, you have to have fuel. Like, if you're going to drive your car, you got to have fuel in there. And it's the same way you get out here and you're dying. It's what you put in is what you're going to get out. And so that helps kind of drive home the point of, you can't eat junk or use bad gas and then expect your car to run perfectly. So, I mean, that helps them, kind of grasp the understanding of, like this has meaning. Like not every food, I didn't even know what like carbs and stuff were in high school. Like it just wasn't taught. And it was just like, yeah, I know what this is, but I don't know what it does until you started learning. So, and again, trying not to make food like an idol where it's on a pedestal to where that's their focus. Like if they do something bad, it's just they pile up on themselves and have a negative outlook towards food. I want a healthy relationship for them with food, for sure.
Right. So dealing with emotions, how do you tell them to deal with emotions? I see in some little kids that I've had a bad day, I'm going to go eat ice cream, or I'm going to go eat. And then parents will do that too. Yeah. Take them. Mom, I've had a bad day at school. Go get an ice cream.
Yep. And that's, I mean, some of that, you work through the moment. Sometimes it's a different approach based on what happened. If it's something like, yeah, we can go have just like where we get out, have a little outing, do something enjoyable and kind of get that self-gratification, a little bit of a high, but yet that is not the fix. Like we have to work through the problem. Like we can kind of get through the moment, but it doesn't go away. Like the problem still occurred. So what do we do to fix it? So looking at like how they respond to situations, we're really big on being kind to everyone. Most of what we try to view as them as far as a good person or beautiful is based on how you treat people. So to me, that makes it where you kind of drive that point home of like, look, this is how you need to behave. This is how you need to feel about yourself. And sometimes it doesn't work. Like if they're struggling, it's a process to work through it. And my 5-year-old's different than my 9-year-old. Her personality is different. So we can do like little, all right, take some deep breaths, and she'll like bring herself down. And my 9-year-old, you just have to kind of give her time and she will work through it. She's kind of getting in that phase of like, I'm independent. And so letting her like, all right, you do this, like you work through it and we'll be here. And if you rush that, I feel like it makes it harder for them to get to the conclusion. So it is, a lot of it's situational, what it caused, but just helping them work through it and those skills that will go through life to where it's not just like, I've screwed up, so why not? I'm not going to try it anything. So yeah, to not pile on, because I still do that. So that's charming. I've got 30 years on him and I still do that. I'm like, screw it. I've already done something wrong. Might as well just have a bad day altogether. I'll start over again. But if you never start over and have a good day, those bad days just stack.
They keep piling up and piling up. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. One mess up doesn't mean to mess up the entire day.
Yeah. Yeah. I think for me, one thing that I've learned is the balance of grace and discipline, because I'm pretty hard on myself. I struggle. Like if I fail, I hate to fail or feel ignorant at something. And so allowing myself some grace to where, okay, we didn't succeed at this. You didn't hit your goal, but also the discipline to not, you failed here. So now we're just going to keep staying in that groove. We're not going to break out of it. And I will internalize and pile on. And it's a hard balance of, okay, give yourself a little bit of it, okay, we're going to hit a reset, but also discipline to where I will have a good day tomorrow. I'm going to take the steps to have a good day and make sure that I stack those good days. And if I have a slip up, that doesn't mean that everything's derailed. That's just a hiccup in the process.
Not the end of the world.
Yep.
So how would you tell someone that, maybe that's struggling with their health, how would you tell them to get started? They come to you, look, I'm depressed, I'm overweight, I have all these issues. How on earth do I just get started?
So I think you do have to look at it from an individual perspective. I think there is not just a like one size fits all with fitness and activity. To me, that if you narrow it down to that, you make it to where it's something they can't sustain. It's either just a like rapid, just, overnight fix where you're like, oh, I'm good. Now this is going to be my new life. I'm changing everything. And I think so starting to find like, okay, what is one thing that you struggle with that we could change off the bat that is sustainable? I looked at the first of this year. I am addicted to chips. Like I eat chips with every meal. The texture, if I don't have that, then it's like if I eat something that's all soft, it stresses me out. So I made a commitment this year, like I will not have like a chip, cracker, cookie, anything processed throughout the week. And then on the weekends, like, okay, you did good. You can have like, so that way I'm not just totally, avoiding that in my life to where I obsess over it. Like, I just need it. And I like detoxed. I mean, the first few weeks, it was awful. Like I realized how much I would just stand in the pantry, just staring. And I would like try to convince myself, like, just try just one little thing. That's all you need. It'll be good tomorrow. And just finding that like, okay, I can do this. It's sustainable. I'm not going to ruin a vacation because of my strict diet. This is something I can build off of. And, doing that portion of it and then finding like a fitness or an activity, seeing what they're capable of, you can't be like, yeah, we're going to go run, and so, hey, let's walk. Walking's excellent for you, but most people think that's pointless, so they don't do it. So that's something that a lot of people can do, not everybody. You can do like the water-based workouts, which is sometimes challenging because you have self-image issues, and so they don't want to get in the water. So you can't just, I don't think you can just, broad strokes. But, all right, let's look and see for you individually what brings you satisfaction, like what makes you feel like you've done a good job, like with a workout, and kind of tailor it and make those changes. Because I feel like people that just go radical all in are more likely to fail. And some people can do that. Some people have the discipline to be like, I've had it, I'm going to just overhaul. But most can't hit that point to where they can sustain it. And as soon as they fail, then it's just, they revert back to what's comfortable. So I think a lot of it is just individualizing it to the person and making sure that you set them up for success and not failure. Because you can easily set somebody up for failure. And that is easy because you're just like, all right, this is what you need to do. And if you don't do this, it's not going to work. Let's take small goals and then have long-term on top of that. So yeah. So I think that would be crucial for them to look at themselves like, hey, this is my struggle point. Like I can't do everything plus give up Dr. Pepper Zero. Like I can't do, you got to give me something and then I'll gradually wean off of that. Like, it's just that way I feel like you'll have a better chance of success in the long term. So, cause it's lifelong. Like this is not something like, let me get through this period and then I'm good.
Yeah, it's a lifestyle.
Yep, for sure.
And that's what sustains your health. It has to be a lifestyle, not I'm going to win or, this transformation challenge or something like that. It has to be a lifestyle in order to keep your health. But I like what you said about how you detox, because so many people don't realize that food is just as addictive as a drug, a heroin addict, if not more, because we have the access to all that. I mean, you go to the grocery store when you're checking out in the checkout line. Let's just look at the checkout lines for a minute. What's there? It's the candy bars and all the sodas.
Yep. Just one last temptation.
There.
Yeah. That, I mean, to me, that's what's challenging because I really don't have like food was always kind of a challenge for me. And so that's what, to make it to where I didn't instill that into my children. I'm like, man, you're doing the same thing. Like you like chips just like your dad. Like at first it was like cute. And then it's like, dude, you have made them to where they're dependent on that. And now like to scale back, you see like the anger from them. We're like, no, you can't have that. And I'm like, man, you're a child and I've done this. So looking at that with like a different perspective of like, okay, this is something we are going to have to work on like as a family, because you don't get in your car and drive to the store and buy chips. Like we provide that for you. So that was eye-opening to be like, man, I am causing this. So, and sometimes you don't see that until you just really start to look at yourself and then be like, look at what I'm doing to my children or my spouse, and be like, man, a hindrance to them. Like, I don't want to be a stumbling block to them. Like, I want us all to succeed. So that's it. I mean, with us being a family of 7, you had 6 people eating one way and 1 not. And I feel like we're a stumbling block to my dad at some point, because it was just like, Dad, you can't eat this. And we would like chastise him. And I have no idea like how hard that was for him to have 6 people eating something and be like, okay, I'm going to eat something totally different, and not have the enjoyment and that struggle and that sense of failure. I mean, I hate that that's how it was. And so I don't want to repeat that like with my children, be like, I'm going to eat this, you guys eat that. So, because you're going to be healthy. So it's all together, like a team effort is huge for success, I believe.
It has to be a team effort. It absolutely has to be. My grandson has the junior RA, and he had to have those shots all the time. Came to me and he was like 10. And he's like, Issy, can we get off these shots? I promise I'll control my diet. We'll control this by a diet. And I eat the way he eats, but everybody else around him in his household, and he wasn't with me all the time, in his household, they eat Southern style, you know, the junk and the cookies and the things like that. But here he is by himself having to eat, you know, so it finally, through the realization to everyone around him, we have to, if we want his body to heal, we have to be on the same playing field as him, because it wasn't there. Yeah. And you have to do that. It has to be with your family, a team effort. It's hard.
Yes. Yeah.
And you do it alone.
Yeah, it's not easy. I mean, the easiest things are typically the worst things for you. And for a child to realize that is hard. And so that makes it more apparent the older you get. Like, everything that makes it convenient and easy for that time is typically not good for you. And so it's a struggle. And that's why I feel like it's like, as a nation, we struggle with it. My best friend went to Nepal as a missionary, and it was eye-opening to them, like the contrast between the lifestyle and like health over there with limited resources versus here. And just like, man, you get used to this and it's the norm for us. And so he brought back a new perspective. So it's kind of been a challenge to me. Like, we have so many more opportunities and resources to, you know, get the best out of life. And you just sometimes don't take advantage of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming on today, Coby.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you want to say out to our viewers?
I think the main thing is just with me struggling with, you know, not internalizing and piling on has always been the biggest struggle for me. And so if you have what you consider a failure, to not make that define you. It can be to where, okay, I failed at this, but I'm going to succeed at this, and find something good from that day and something to be thankful for. You can find the smallest thing to be thankful for, or, you know, the opportunity or ability that you have that someone else doesn't, and to hold on to that and be like, okay, I failed at this, but I have the ability to get up the next morning and be able to change my life, and to know that it's a process, and to have a support system, find people that are like-minded, that will build you up and not tear you down. That's huge. And so finding that is a process, finding balance in your life is a process. And so just positivity is huge, and stay as positive as you can. And to me, knowing that this is going to be a lifestyle and not an overnight success, I think that's one of the most important things.
Okay, well, if you have any questions, make sure that you leave them on our Facebook page so that we can get them answered in our next podcast. Up until then, we'll see ya.